You're listening to The Secrets of Sacred Art, where we unearth the hidden treasures, history, and deeper meanings in religious and sacred art. We're your hosts, Alex Murray
and Catherine Laffrey. Welcome to episode 44, Beauty in the Palm of Your Hand, Part 2. In this episode, we will continue our exploration of the beauty and history of the Rosary, sharing some beautiful images of the mysteries of the Rosary, as well as some surprising ways in which the faithful have incorporated the beloved prayer into architecture, landscaping, and a few other surprises.
Please follow The Secrets of Sacred Art in Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. For a fuller experience, you can join us on the SQPN YouTube channel, where you can see all the images we're discussing on the show. You can find us on social media at facebook.com/StarQuestMedia, on X at SQPN, or on Instagram at StarQuest Network. So, part 2 of the Rosary. And of course, we divided it into 2 parts, didn't we, Catherine? Because we thought, oh my gosh, there's so much to talk about. There's so many ways that this really simple and beautiful prayer has influenced the church, the life of the church. So we thought, well, I can't get it all in one episode. And guess what? We can't get it all in 2.
I think we just amazing. 20 episodes just for the images alone.
I know. Oh my gosh. And then some. But so I think, we kind of had to rein in and, oh my gosh, the rabbit holes we were going down and having such a good time going down the rabbit holes on the Rosary. But if there's any takeaway we hope our viewers and listeners have from this is, first and foremost, we hope that you're inspired to pray the Rosary, pick up those beads, and reflect on the life of our Lord through the eyes of Our Lady. And also, when you go into a church or even a museum, I've seen that before. I've seen people with their Rosary beads on their knees in museums. I don't know if you've seen that.
No, but that's awesome, though.
Oh, yeah. And but when you go into a church or a museum and you see these images and you pray the Rosary, those images, the sacred art is there. It's there to draw you closer into deeper prayer. And then even to be in a building and just kind of absorb the reality of the Rosary and how it's been expressed in the architecture. All of that. I hope that, just people are a little more attentive to these images when they go into their church, whether it's for Sunday Mass or simply to sit and pray quietly. But all of this is there to help draw you closer in and to deeper prayer. So, if we can do those 2 things, that's good. And just be aware of the Rosary in the culture and around you. You might spot a Rosary garden that you didn't know was there before.
Exactly.
Maybe hiding under the snow in some places right now, but that's another story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things we kind of wanted to talk about was the Rosary now is quite standardized. It didn't always, the mysteries sometimes changed. The prayer, the Ave was always there. So the Hail Mary, full of grace, that was always part of it. But it became standardized at a certain point, and we wanted to kind of, our jumping off point today is where that started, who standardized it, how it became standardized. And that was a very important moment in history, in Christendom, in Europe and in Christendom. And that's the source of it. But before we launch into that, I found this amazing image of Madonna of the Rosary by Lorenzo Lotto. And he was commissioned by the Confraternity of the Rosary, and that's a Dominican confraternity that had started in the 14th century, and it was there to promote the prayer of the Rosary. And by this time, when this image was commissioned, it was starting to become much more standardized. And if you look closely, yeah, great. Yeah, thank you, Catherine. We can kind of look at it a little in a little more detail. I wasn't able to find a really high res example of this. This was the best I could do, but there's a lot going on. But you can definitely see in the painting the association of the literally roses in the rosary, whether it's the little cherubs scattering rose petals around or the roses in the rose bush. But within the rose bush, there are 15 medallions. And these medallions each feature one of the mysteries of the Rosary. And, you know, we just have to discuss this. So I just want to kind of hear some of your thoughts and initial impressions on this. I've got some myself, but Catherine, what are your initial thoughts on this?
For a family teaching aid, like if you want to introduce your kids to the Rosary, what a great image to have. Because you have, you know, the whole Saint Dominic receiving the Rosary from Our Lady, and then to have all the mysteries. I think this would be wonderful to have in a home, especially in a prayer corner where you're saying the Rosary regularly. And it'd be a great teaching tool for catechism classes too. I've never seen this image before, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, it really is beautiful. And if you look at the bottom of it, you've got you have Saint Dominic with his tonsure, and he's being handed the Rosary by the Blessed Mother. And to the right, you've got, so this was painted, this was commissioned for a town called Cigoli, or city called Cigoli. And to the right of Saint Dominic, there you do see a bishop, and his name is Exuperantius, and he was a 5th century saint and the bishop of this city. And he's offering the town to the Blessed Mother and the Christ Child. And behind Saint Dominic is Mary Magdalene and either Saint Thomas Aquinas or Vincent Ferrars. I think it might be Saint Vincent, because I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking that. And then behind Exuperantius is Saint Catherine of Siena and Saint Peter of Verona, and you can see his axe at the top of his head. Yeah. So that's how you know who that is. But I think so there are a couple of different things that this image incorporates beautifully. So it's almost like the tree of life, if you think about the traditional images of the tree of life.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know about you, Catherine, but yeah. And so it's like a stylized tree of life. And I don't know about you. I don't know if we've ever discussed this. But I kind of love patterns, finding patterns in different ways. And when I've been praying the Rosary, I always try to link one mystery to another. So a mystery from the glorious mysteries to a mystery from the joyful mysteries or the sorrowful mysteries. Yeah. Because I think they're all linked. But what I love about this image is you can link them. Obviously, they're kind of arched. The 5 complete mysteries are arched, and they're linked together almost like beads with a little rectangular just link around the medallions. So you can see that they're physically connected that way. But also, if you kind of look up and down, so if you look at them laterally or if you look at them diagonally, are there other links? And I just think visually it helps broaden that connection between all of the mysteries.
Yeah.
But that's me, because I'm obsessed with pattern.
No, I think you've got it spot on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I've been listening to the Rosary in a Year podcast from Ascension Press, and that comes up frequently about the connection between the different mysteries across the sets. And it's just been a wonderful,
Yeah.
deeper reflection into it. I highly recommend that podcast for someone who really wants to get into the habit of praying the rosary daily, because it brings you into it in a nice, slow, gradual way to where it becomes like, okay, this is part of my life. This is something I want to do every day.
And also, it's a private, it's a personal devotional, but it's also communal. It's a communal prayer, across time, across different cultures. It's amazing. It's such a beautifully simplistic prayer. But so the next thing, so now we're going to why this, why we have the standard that we have. So how has the rosary influenced history? So one of the biggest, most important events, I think, in Christendom that has happened in history is the Battle of Lepanto. And that took place. So to back up a little bit, so this is kind of an incredible allegorical painting of the Battle of Lepanto, where you have obviously a naval battle with lots going on. I always think when people paint stuff like this, I'm like, are you painting these individually? And they all actually mean something, and like I should understand it, or am I just supposed to take it all in as a whole? Do you know what I mean? There's just a lot going on down there, but it's supposed to be the chaos of a naval battle. And then above you see that the warriors being strengthened by Our Lady and Saint Peter. I see Saint Peter. I see Saint Dominic. And I can't quite, and maybe Saint Jerome, that little lion, and they're observing, but the angels are obviously part of the battle as well. In fact, you can see, if you look closely, you can see some arrows coming down from heaven, because actually what happened. So I'm getting ahead of myself. So, so in 1566, Pope Pius V, who was a Dominican, and I think we have a beautiful painting of him, an image of him. I don't know if that one's coming up. Yeah, there we go. I think this is a very familiar painting. I think a lot of people would recognize this image, but so he became increasingly concerned about the threat of the Ottoman Empire, which was an Islamic empire and quite powerful and huge. They were becoming increasingly threatening to Europe. And he saw this threat, and he encouraged all Christians to pray the rosary. He didn't limit it to Catholics. He thought everybody needed to be praying the rosary to ask for help from this threat. And of course, I think one of the reasons that was his go-to solution, step one in whatever he was doing, is because he was a Dominican. So he was used to promoting this devotional. Yeah. So that would have been his go-to thing, any issues, first step, pray the rosary. And so because he wanted this to be accessible to as many people as possible, he wanted people to pray it daily, either on their own or at church, communally. He's the one that really tried to standardize it. So it was something simple, but it was something that everybody was praying. So if you were, for example, if you were traveling from one village or one city to another, or if you were a merchant and you were trading and you were going to another part of Europe, you could connect with people and they would be praying the same prayer that you were praying in terms of the rosary. So the same mysteries and the same prayers. So as I said, the Ave, or the Holy Mary, Mother of God part of the prayer, that was standard, pretty much well known. In medieval times, they would do a reflection and then they would say the Ave Maria. What Pope Pius V did was he added the Holy Mary, Mother of God part of the prayer. So that's
Okay.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. And I think that's kind of significant in terms of why he felt he needed to add that. There was a real threat of danger, and there always have, death comes to us all, but to bring that to mind and to ask for her intercession at that time. So he added that. And sadly, at this time, most of the heads of state in Europe, and this is including the Catholic ones, they were either preoccupied with the chaos that had come about from the Reformation, or their own political turmoil, or their own lack of virtue, shall we say. And so he didn't get a lot of help at all. Nobody really responded to this very dangerous threat. But there were 3 men who did. And so I think if we go to the next image, unless you wanted to discuss this image of him, we can go, okay, so this is the next one. So there were 3 very faithful Catholics who did come to aid. They answered the call, and that was Don Juan of Austria, Marcantino Colonna, I can't remember where he's from, and Sebastiano Venier. And Sebastiano Venier was the Doge of Venice, a very powerful man. And these 3 men organized, on their own coins, shall we say, the navies that went out to confront the Ottoman Empire's navy. So it's estimated that the Ottomans had like 100,000 men and just thousands. Well, think about it. How many ships would you need to have if you had 100,000 plus men, warriors who were very capable? Some people want to, maybe to minimize the victory that Don Juan and his companions had. Like, oh, these 100,000 men weren't that disciplined. Well, there were only like 10,000 Catholics who were fighting in this naval battle. So even if you were like really undisciplined, 100,000 against 10,000, you still actually have a really good chance of winning just because of sheer numbers.
Yeah.
But what happened was they went out to fight, and this was with the prayers of the Rosary of all of Europe. Everyday people praying the Rosary and asking for Our Lady's intervention. They went out to this battle. I mean, this was literally David and Goliath all over again.
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, this storm churns up, and the Ottomans were defeated, and they had a victory. And to this day, this naval battle is studied at naval academies because of how incredible it was. It was the last great galley naval battle that happened. And, they can't explain how this happened. There's no explanation how they could have done this. There's just no, like I said, sometimes I think they try, if you want to look at this again from that horizontal angle, they want to say, oh, the Turks weren't very disciplined. I mean, sailors have to be disciplined or you don't sail. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yes.
A lack of
from boating on
undisciplined.
a busy lake on a holiday weekend. You got to be disciplined to be out on the water with that many boats.
Exactly. And undisciplined is a relative term here. They're not talking about somebody who, it's like on one of those little inflatable tubes, sailing down, just bobbing on the lake. Just to get to the point where they had to fight, you have to be disciplined enough to get there, all at the same time and ready to fight. So, anyway, so what's interesting is during the battle, Pope Pius V, he was praying, and he had this overwhelming sense that the battle had been won. And so he declared the October the 7th, Our Lady of Victory feast day in thanks for this great victory. But the news of the victory didn't reach Rome until 2 weeks later. So they had indeed won, and they had won on the day he said they had won. So there you go. And so that standard rosary that we pray today goes all the way back to the Battle of Lepanto.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Oh, these were
yeah.
long. That was back to the first one. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and I just have here. So this is from Shrewsbury Cathedral. Mm-hmm. And it is the main stained glass window behind the altar. It's beautiful. I'll have to do a little tour of the Shrewsbury Cathedral for our viewers one of these days. Yes. But I wanted to kind of show these images because you have Our Lady, but if you look at the mandola around her, it looks kind of like rosary beads. And I think that's an accurate way of reading it because just below her, you have two images of the Battle of Lepanto with Our Lady, the emblem of Our Lady in between the two. And you can see on the left, you've got this intact ship of Don Juan of Austria with his cross on the sails. And then to the right, you have what looks like a broken ship in disarray. And what I love about this, look at the blue stained glass, the way they've done it, even it looks chaotic.
Yes. Yeah. It's so funny because looking at it close up, it almost looks like someone put the window together the wrong way.
Yes, exactly.
It's just such a unique way of showing this little broken up ship, like the battle was won.
Yeah. But, even the sky is in chaos for them, whereas on the other side, it's all in order and it's all as it should be. But what's interesting is the waves seem to be quite in order on both. Like this was intentional.
Yes. Mm-hmm. That is a fun image of it.
It is. It's beautiful and it's massive. And it was recently restored. I want to say maybe 4 or 5 years ago, they received a grant and they restored it because before you really couldn't see it. But now it's beautiful. It's such a beautiful little cathedral.
Nice. It's very beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, shall we
and
take
I love
a deep
the
dive
image
into some of these mysteries?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, let's please do. Yeah. So, Catherine and I were discussing this, and we could just go on and on forever with every single mystery and images from it, because there are just countless numbers of images representing the mysteries. But because we want to show you as much as we can, we're just kind of limiting them. So we each have two mysteries. Now I got the first two. Catherine gets the second two. And I wanted to show. Do you know what Hannah Grace? I can't believe I just called you my daughter's name. I just realized I don't have anything from the sorrowful mysteries. I don't know why I did that, but so my two are from the joyful mysteries. This is one of, so the third joyful mystery is the Nativity of our Lord. And this is one of the earliest images. And I'd never really seen this before. It's from around 408 AD, and it's from a sarcophagus. And this is the Nativity. It's really, what I find interesting is, in this very early image, you have our Lord in swaddling clothing, and you have a bull, and you have a donkey. And so these three elements are always in images of the Nativity. Mm-hmm. So no Blessed Mother, no Saint Joseph, no three kings, no shepherds, no angels. It's just our Lord with two animals in a stable. And of course, because these animals represent the Gentiles and the Jews being one with Christ. And that wasn't a concept that clearly was there from very, very early on. And it's been depicted here. And I love this image. Have you ever seen this one, Catherine?
I have never seen this image before. I love the simplicity of it, and the layout is just fabulous. I've seen other medieval drawings and even icons where you have this, but then there's Mary and Joseph in the scene as well, or sometimes even the midwife and shepherds. But seeing it just down to these three figures, I love it. I love the simplicity of it.
I do too. I think this would be an incredible lino cut or wood cut. Wood cutting, don't you think? So just kind of take what's lovely about this one is it is so simple, but to look at this image and to meditate on that mystery, I think the simplicity makes room for you to be in that space as well.
It gives you an interesting perspective too, because as you would be saying your Aves, it's as if you're seeing through Mary's eyes.
Yeah. That's a great point.
That's so sweet. Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful. Yeah, she's like you're looking at him through her eyes. And of course, animals. We love animals. This is the fifth joyful mystery, and this is the finding of Jesus as a child in the temple. Now, the reason I chose this is because it's really in contrast with the simplicity of the joyful mystery of the Nativity. In one way, there are lots of people, there are lots of colors, lots to look at that again draw you in a different way. But this image, this painting by William Holman Hunt, is at the Birmingham Museum in Birmingham, England. And I have seen this image. I've spent so much time in front of this painting. It is a mid-sized painting. It's not, life-size. I couldn't tell you what the scale is, but it's smaller.
So wait, all this detail, this isn't one of those wall paintings where it just covers everything? Oh, wow.
No, I want to say at the most 3 by 5 at the most.
Wow.
It's not big. It's not as big as you think it would be, but you can go right up to it. And I have spent so many hours just staring at this thing, especially when my children were younger.
Get lost in.
Yeah. So my girls would wander around freely, and I would go, I'm just going to stay here. You girls don't leave this. Don't leave this gallery. Go look at something else, or look at this with me. So my girls would probably look at this and go, oh yeah, we've seen this about 10,000 times. But but again, there's a lot going on in this, where you can be part of the group as well. But the details of this from, you have in the back, so you have Christ in the foreground with this gorgeous blue and white robe on in the belt. And then, with the little phylacteries at the bottom. But then if you look at the Blessed Mother, she seems to have something as well, like maybe prayer ropes in red on her, on her dress. And then there's St. Joseph behind both of them. So it's a lovely little, that great triangle that the human eye loves to pick out, with the Holy Family. And that kind of disc on the door almost is like a halo for all of them, in the background. Behind them in the foreground, you see a family presenting their baby and a lamb to the temple, which is what the Holy Family would have done when Jesus was a baby. You have the beggar. If you look to the lower right-hand side next to Our Lady's feet, there's a beggar. You have the teachers in the temple who are amazed. Old and young, some are looking away. But you have this one young man. I always wonder, was that Nicodemus? And he's looking very thoughtfully at Christ. You've got the old man who's blind. He's clearly blind, and it's an image that you can just, like I have done, spend forever in there looking at it and getting completely lost. And this doesn't do justice to the detail or the richness of it. I mean, wow. You can get right up to it. I love it.
Amazing. Yeah, all those little details, we could sit here and stare at it all day, but I don't think that'll work.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know if he's part of the Birmingham School of Art or if he was he was definitely a pre-Raphaelite. And they had all kinds of interesting, a couple of branches coming off of their pre-Raphaelites who were, they converted to Catholicism in the 19th century in Britain. And I'm looking at the pigeons too, or the doves flying in. Oh my gosh, I just thought of that. So here you have like aiming right up to the upper right-hand corner of Joseph's head. You've got the doves coming in. So that's almost like the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
Everything's intentional in this. Yeah.
Yeah, people, you can pause, look at this for a while, come back.
Yeah. But you want to know something, to pray the Rosary with this image would just draw you into the relief and the joy and look at all the people around him. Oh, it's fantastic. Love it. And I'm so sorry I don't have the, so you go on, you get to talk because I dropped the ball on the sorrowful mysteries, but anyway.
Well, one of the newest sets of mysteries that we've had added, thanks to St. Pope John Paul II, is the Luminous Mysteries. And what I love that happened with this, Pope Benedict went on to really emphasize the use of these 4 sets as a way of evangelizing and telling people about the life of Christ and his mother, and how we grow and learn from memorizing just the names of the different sets of the mysteries. So, Alex, you were talking about the joyful mysteries, and that leads us right into the luminous mysteries, because we need to know what happens after the finding in the temple, and when does Jesus's ministry begin. And I have here the first 2 luminous mysteries. We have the baptism of Christ in the Jordan, and then we have the wedding feast at Cana. Both of these images are done by the same Zettler studio that did incredible stained glass work. One is from Holy Rosary Parish in northern Michigan, and the other one is from England, I believe is where I found it, but also same company, and their work and their styling stands out. It's easy to pick a Zettler piece because there's a lot of similar elements that get used over and over again when they made stained glass for so many different churches throughout the world.
And were they located in Germany or were they located in Chicago? I remember you talking about them before. Okay. Germany, couldn't remember. Okay. Don't ask me where I got the Chicago.
I think we mentioned them in an earlier podcast. I forget which one.
Yes.
Yeah. But what's really neat is thinking about the location within the churches for these. So, for example, the baptism of Christ, that window is directly over where the baptismal font is in the church.
Nice.
So So you can really
Nice.
have that fun connection. And then I have no idea where in the church they would have placed the wedding feast at Cana.
Yeah,
This
I wonder
is a
where this
beautiful
is.
example.
You said it's in England. I'm just wondering where in England this would be.
I think it is Our Lady of Good Counsel. Yes. And I put a link in the show notes to, they have the full gallery of all of their windows, which is absolutely fabulous to see. So, and then,
beautiful.
Yeah. So just taking the time to just really, okay, what's happening in each of these when you're saying those mysteries of the Rosary, and especially the luminous ones. They're only said on Thursdays traditionally. And it's unique because that's also a day to pray for priests. And so you think about all the different sacraments involved in these mysteries. So you have your sacrament of your baptism, sacrament of marriage. And it's just neat to think about. And I'll always pray for like the priest who baptized me or the priest who baptized my daughters. And then when for the wedding feast at Cana, you think about the priest who married us, the priest who married my parents. You just think about praying the intentions for them. Yeah.
And also, I think another thing that's worth noting in this is that the luminous mysteries, even though they were introduced as something new, what they are themselves are things that we've pondered in the life of Christ from the very beginning. And you can see it with these stained glass windows were made way before the new luminous mysteries were introduced. But St. John Paul II was drawing from things that the church had already been praying about and pondering and contemplating for 2,000 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then here's the next three. The first one in the red frame, not the best image, but I had to grab it because this is from when we talked about St. Anne's in Detroit. So different stained glass company, but it's one of the few that I could find of, this is like the proclamation of the gospel. This is Jesus doing the Sermon on the Mount. Great image to ponder when praying that mystery. To think of the hundreds and thousands of people that followed Christ and listened to him proclaim, this is what's happening. These are the Beatitudes. This is, all the teaching and healing that happened in his life. And it makes you really pray for me anyway, for people that maybe aren't hearing it. Maybe they're missing it. Maybe there's too much noise in their life and they're just not hearing the word proclaimed to them. Yeah.
No, that's excellent.
Yeah.
And where was this? This is St. Anne's? Sorry.
St. Anne's in Detroit.
St. Anne's, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this window is huge. This is only one section of it. It's one of the transept windows.
Okay.
And then the one in the center, again from Holy Rosary, this is the Transfiguration. I love this window. I will stop every time we go to church there just to look at this window. It's interesting though, the window itself, the full view of it's been cut off by the addition of the choir loft. So it pretty much stops where I have that picture stopped. So to get the full view of everything above, you have to stand really close to it and look up in the little gap between the choir loft and the window.
Okay.
But it's such a fabulous picture, especially to be able to stand right up against it and look up and feel like you're watching Christ transfigured before you.
It's beautiful. I love the blue in that one.
Oh, the blue is gorgeous. This really makes me think about when priests are ordained too. It's like they become a new person.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have the institution of the Eucharist. Again, this is from Holy Rosary. Got a full view, top to bottom. And I love sitting like in line with this one when you're in church.
Yeah.
It's like, there's always like different windows you want to sit by different times of the year. This is one that, year round, you just want to be able to look over your shoulder and see the institution of the Eucharist. And again, another time to pray for, maybe the priest who gave you your first communion or, your children's first communion.
That's so funny. Yeah, that's so funny you do that because I do that too. Like if I go to, if I am, when I go to the cathedral, there's certain windows I want to sit next to. It's like your friend, Nice.
And what's really interesting to think about is maybe your church doesn't have all of these mysteries visible because, some churches only had so many room for windows. And when you have just the original 15, they might not have had these windows in there. A lot of them do. But it's good to look around your church and to find other things that remind you of these mysteries. You could look at the pulpit or the ambo for the proclamation of the gospel. You've got the altar up there to remind you of the institution of the Eucharist. Christ's transfiguration. I'm sure there's images around the church where you could find maybe Moses.
The baptismal font.
Yep.
Yeah.
Baptismal font for the baptism. So there's all kinds of unique ways to finding images to guide your prayer. And there's times where I've been like saying the rosary before Mass and I love turning and looking, and it's hard to turn and look at the different images and not feel like you're staring at the person behind you or next to you.
You could just do that anyway.
It's worth just taking that image in while you're praying the mysteries. Yeah. I do know that at this church, they've been thinking about going, okay, what ones do we don't have? And trying to fill the gap maybe with paintings.
Nice. Well, I have to say, did you do this on purpose? Did you use stained glass windows for the luminous mysteries? Is that intentional?
I love stained glass windows, and there's nothing more luminous than stained glass. So
that's what I was.
Maybe subconsciously.
Yeah. Okay. Honestly, I thought you did it. I thought you did it on purpose.
Especially if you can be in Mass, more in the winter time, and the sun starts coming up while you're saying the luminous. Oh, yeah. That's amazing when the lights just come through the windows.
Yeah, beautiful.
All right, and just as beautiful when the light shines through other glorious mysteries. And again, using the stained glass from Holy Rosary, it's just an incredible little treasure of a church. And so here we have the resurrection. I love this depiction of the resurrection because you have the soldiers falling down in awe and wonder of what's happening. Like, oh my goodness, what's going on?
Yeah.
And then the angel moving the stone. So it's all in there. And Christ, victorious with his triumphal, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not his banner.
There's I can't help you there.
But anyway.
It's not banner? Okay, yeah.
And then...
if anybody knows, let us know, please.
I know I'm going to think of it.
And I look in the background. Sorry, if you look in the background...
Standard.
To the left.
That's what it's called.
Standard. Okay, yes. But if you look in the background to the left, where the sun is coming up in the background, you can see the 3 crosses on a little hill. So nice. Calvary, not little hill. Calvary.
Yeah. Yeah, such depth in a small space. And then next to that, we have the Ascension. And I've been having a lot of fun conversations with Father Libby, who's at Holy Rosary, about this window. Alex, count how many apostles there are around him.
It looks like 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10? 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, so somebody's missing.
10. Somebody is missing.
Yeah.
I wonder who's missing.
So it kind of goes back and forth. The first apostle to be martyred was
Saint Stephen.
Was that?
Oh, sorry, he wasn't an apostle. Sorry.
Gosh, I lost his name. But anyway, so yeah, there's some debate as to whether or not, this image is supposed to say like, oh yeah, this one apostle was martyred before this happened, but in the accounts in the Gospels, it's, he's there and then he's martyred. So it kind of goes back and forth. Also, I did look at other transfiguration windows by the same company. And depending on how big the window is made, sometimes the missing apostle is actually down below Peter and John. Other times there's another face in the upper left where it's a little dark. I guess that would be Jude in green up there.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say sometimes just for visual practicality, shall we say, you've got to, because if you look at it as a whole, like just the image as a whole, it works. And it probably wouldn't work. You wouldn't really, if you had someone down lower, you wouldn't really get the sense that it was the ascension. It might look like he's just standing there preaching,
Yeah. And when I look at it, I think, well, I'm the missing apostle. So this is like from my vantage point, if I was the missing apostle.
Yeah, there you go. No, but you know what? It works. It still works. It's beautiful.
And what we all love to point out to the kids when they get old enough to really take a good look at it is the footprints in the ground.
Yeah. Yeah. You can just see them. And see, if you had someone there, you wouldn't be able to see that either. So to communicate that this is the ascension, you had to take that one person out based on the size of this window.
And then the next one, also part of our glorious mysteries, we have the coming of the Holy Spirit upon the church. This is also an image of Zettler stained glass window. Surprisingly, I couldn't find the original image. This is actually from a company, I think down in Texas, that has these older images of stained glass windows and reproduces them on like a sublimated plexi type material, so that if people needed a cheaper form of a stained glass window, you can kind of pop this into place. I prefer the real deal stuff instead of copies, quite honestly.
Yes. Yeah. But that takes patrons.
It does take patrons.
Yeah.
Beautifully done, getting everybody in the image, and Our Lady so beautifully in the center. She is the mother of the church.
Yeah. It really is. There's, again, so much to look at. And it's almost, it reminds me almost of the Ghent altarpiece, just the richness of a lot of the patterns and everything.
And then again, here's also the same 3-panel image that goes with the coming of the Holy Spirit, or Pentecost. And here we have the Assumption of Mary. And look at the beautiful, her sarcophagus full of flowers, just like they said when it was opened.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
This is a beautiful.
I love the purple behind her as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then the smaller
this
one
is
next
another
to it.
One.
That's,
No, sorry. I was just going to say this is another image that is worth pausing and just taking it all in. We were just looking at it going.
Yeah. And then the smaller one next to it, different stained glass company. I'm not exactly sure which one this is, but this is from the small Irish parish that I go to here in Michigan. And And beautiful stained glass windows, completely different styling where it's like a smaller image in the center, very long, tall windows. And this is for the coronation of Mary.
Mm.
And I love the layout of this one. All the windows that have clouds in it have such big billowy clouds.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it's really beautiful. It's really beautiful.
Mm-hmm. So yeah,
it's got, a little bit of Gothic flavor.
What's that?
The arches. I said it's a little bit of a Gothic flavor, with the kind of the border at the top, that archway at the top is slightly Gothic.
Yeah. What's neat is each one of the images, the stained glass image above it looks like the roof of a church. And so it has little spires.
Oh.
And then it works its way up into just, colored glass with some vine work. And the
Lovely.
color of the glass is this beautiful yellow color. It's hard to describe it. It's not really warm or cold. It's just, it's hard to describe this yellow color, but it's just so gorgeous. And when the sun hits it, it's luminous.
It's luminous.
But yeah, it's just, it lights up everything. It's almost like, a yellow chartreuse in a way.
Mm.
So very nice.
Yeah. Yeah. So nice.
So,
and
you said,
I had meant
all these windows required patrons. You see names of people that donated. And
yes. And speaking of patrons, exactly. And so we really want to take a moment to thank our patrons who make it possible for us to create the Secrets of Sacred Art, including Eric A., Cher W., Father Jeff H., Jason C., and Kevin E. Their generous donations at sqpn.com/give make it possible for us to continue the Secrets of Sacred Art and all the shows at StarQuest. And you can join them by visiting sqpn.com/give. So thank you very much, patrons. It's incredible the power that patrons have, isn't it? When you look at the church, and you kind of look at what we're able to do here. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
So
one more thing I wanted to share before we go on. This is also from St. Anne's. They had the 15 Mysteries of the Rosary as paintings just below the clerestory stained glass windows that wrapped around the transepts and the sanctuary in the church. And so this one depicts, we have, I think this is the end of the glorious mysteries. So we have Christ's ascension, the coming of the Holy Spirit or Pentecost, Mary's Assumption, and then her coronation. So in older churches, take the time to look up, because sometimes you'll see these small little paintings, that'll lay out the mysteries of the Rosary for you.
Yeah, it is not. Yeah, it's everywhere. Just got to pay attention. Yeah, all of these themes that we're supposed to be contemplating on, will be in the churches.
Yeah.
So we're now kind of moving from art, although you had a nice bridge there with the stained glass windows, because that's kind of architecture and art. And we would just want to talk about the Rosary and architecture. And the example that we have is going to be from St. Dominic's, the Rosary Shrine in London. Now, my daughter goes to this shrine at a couple of times a year, maybe. But she loves it. She sings in the choir when she gets an opportunity to. And I asked her, go and take some photographs for me, but she didn't. But she put the word out to some friends, and they very kindly went and got some photographs. So Thank you. And but the Rosary Shrine in London. Now, in 1861, Cardinal Wiseman invited the Dominicans to Kentish Town to establish a presence in the city. And at this time, this was not too long after the hierarchy of the Catholic Church had been reestablished here. And it wasn't always easy. I was just reading a letter from the Bishop of Shrewsbury, and he was talking about the challenges that Catholics had at the time and the level of poverty. So it wasn't an easy homecoming, shall we say? But Cardinal Wiseman asked the Dominicans to come back to London, and on the Feast of the Transfiguration is when they laid the stone for a church, a Dominican church. In 1873, Thomas Walmsley of Tunbridge Wells wanted to build a church in honor of Our Lady of Lourdes to mark the gratitude of Catholics in the United Kingdom. And at that time, and there's another whole tangent we could go down on the Rosary and Our Lady of Lourdes, but we can't do that today. But so at the time, the apparitions of Our Lady of Lourdes that was a fairly new thing in the church. So for him to want to build a church in honor of Our Lady of Lourdes, that was actually quite there a lot of faith in that at the time. And since and I guess the Dominicans thought it was a great idea as well, though. And since the Rosary and Lourdes are so closely linked, the Dominicans decided to name their new church Our Lady of the Rosary. And these are so the Rosary Shrine actually has one main altar, and it has 14 chapels going around. So I've never been there, but I'd love to go. My plan is to go down to London when I drop my daughter off at uni and go to the Rosary Shrine, and maybe we can introduce our viewers a little more to this beautiful place. But the 14 chapels feature one of the mysteries of the Rosary. Mm-hmm. And this obviously is the Annunciation. I say obviously, but it's the Annunciation. It's got that neo-Gothic style. It's really, really beautiful. And what do you think of this one, Catherine? I love the angel wings when they're kind of at that funny angle. I don't know why. I just love that. It's like they're trying to
one
fit
down,
into this
one
space.
Up. I love the capitals on the columns too. The rose capitals, beautiful.
Yes. Yeah. There's so much.
Actually, this reminds me a little bit of Sagrada Familia's Nativity entrance with the decorative work in the stone.
Exactly. The tracery. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, St. Dominic was Spanish. So,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So this is the main altar. And look at that gorgeous rosary. One end held by Our Lady, the other end held by our Lord. And you've got, I know, the angels around them, and I can't see the martyr, but definitely there's someone with a crown and a palm leaf in her hand, and so I just can't tell quite from this angle who that is. But again, this is from one of Hannah Grace's friends who very kindly, he's Raoul Fletcher. I don't know if you can see it on here, but I don't know if you can see his name, but this was from Raoul. And you've got the different angels, it's a beautiful place, and I think I need to go and hang out there for a little bit.
Oh, definitely. This is like a little tease.
Yeah.
I found this picture. We didn't even know we were looking at the same place.
I know. Isn't that funny? Yeah. And of course, with the introduction of the luminous mysteries, you can't like completely redo a church with 15, 14 chapels and one large main altar. But what they did do very creatively is they have introduced a rosary garden, and the rosary garden features elements of the luminous mysteries. So they made it work.
Mm-hmm.
And again, now when I go, probably when I go, the rosary garden isn't going to look that impressive because I'm going in January, but I'm sure it's gorgeous in the spring and summer.
Oh, yeah. But it's definitely been fun because after finding that rosary garden, I was like, I know there's other rosary gardens. Well, sure enough, in the U.S. here at the National, what's the word I'm looking for? National, it's not the National
Shrine.
National Shrine. Yes. We have a rosary garden that's recently been added, and it's right off the parking lot across the street. And I put a little blue frame around it so you can see where it is. They did a nice, simple loop around, and you have the statue of Our Lady of Fatima, and added in the corner here a viewer's picture that they had put on Google Maps of looking. And what's really unique about this is how they set up this rosary garden so that you can say all the mysteries. You can loop around a couple times. So what they did is this. So they have at the Basilica of the National Shrine of the Immaculate Conception. There you go. There's the full name. So another one of our wonderful basilicas that we love to share.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love how they displayed each of the mysteries. They did it in more of a different order here. I'm surprised they didn't put them where you have
in chronological order.
Yeah, like a chronological order. So we have the joyful, sorrowful, luminous, and then glorious.
Yeah.
So slightly different order.
This kind of, yeah. Do you know, I was just thinking, this takes us back to the original painting that we had. This is reminding me, remember how I was saying you link them up, the mysteries? They literally have done this in this garden. That's so cool. And I didn't realize that when I didn't.
Yeah, so as you progress around, you could contemplate, the different mysteries. And then like you said, Alex, it's like, see how they're connected. It's fascinating too.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. But, you start looking at rosary walks, you can find those everywhere. Oh my goodness, I was going down rabbit hole after rabbit hole with churches that are putting up rosary walks. And then came across this woman's blog, Sharon Sable, and she had 20 rosary garden ideas. These are just 2. There were so many more, and within each one of her images, there was links to more. So it was so fun to neat to look at. And it was so funny because I'm a terrible gardener. I only like to do things maybe twice a year in the garden, and then I just let it go. My girls can totally attest to the fact that spring cleanup with mom was a bear because all the weeds that had grown the summer before had to be pulled.
Oh my gosh.
I'm thinking, oh my goodness, if I would have thought to put a beautiful rock rosary going all the way around my house, I'd probably take care of the weeds more.
Yeah. Absolutely. What a neat idea.
That second image, Alex, reminded me of your garden area. Because it's on a slope, and I'm thought, that would look really good behind your house.
Yeah. I mean, it's not quite the slope that we have, but Yeah, I was just thinking about that because it's funny. My husband wants to actually turn the back garden into like a rosary garden because we have two um, set of steps going all the way to the top, on either side. So it could be like that. It's very neat.
Yeah.
It's nice to see. I'm going to have to get onto her website and look at some of her ideas, some inspiration.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but I love how you can do, and that's something you can do as a family.
Yes.
And it would inspire you to keep your garden tidy, wouldn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Going out there every day. If you're walking it every day, you don't have to worry about the weeds.
Oh, true. Yeah. I need the dogs back. Like, train it all down.
Exactly. Yeah. They have their own weird way of gardening. Yeah. Let me just put it that way.
I was really fascinated to find out was that the first garden known to be dedicated to Mary was planted by Saint Fiacre. I think I said that right. In France during the 7th century.
Yeah.
So in a way, rosary gardens have been around for a long time.
Yes, they are. Well, the fact that they're called rosaries, I mean, you're associating it with a flower that you would have in the garden anyway. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that does. And it doesn't surprise me that it would have come from France because their gardens are so beautiful.
But beautiful. I have to say, highly recommend. I did put a bunch of links in the show notes, but go out there and explore. There are so many more links that I even shared to ideas for how to create rosary gardens, flowers to use. What is it? The website, Aletea. They have wonderful article about 5 ways to create a rosary garden, and including they give you some ideas for the flower colors. So maybe you want to focus and just have your garden be about the joyful mysteries. Do it with white flowers, or the luminous mysteries, maybe purple flowers, sorrowful mysteries, red, and glorious yellow. That's one option. You could even create it in tiers so that in one layer you have all red, all white, and that's a way to keep going as you focus through. Another website had a great idea of the reflecting balls that are in gardens.
Yeah.
To do those, you could have smaller ones for the Aves and then a few bigger ones for the Our Fathers instead of doing stepping stones.
Yeah.
So there's so many definitely ways. Yeah. I think we're going to have to deep dive some flowers,
you can get creative.
Alex.
Oh, totally. I have a book on it. I have a book on like all of the flowers to use in a rosary garden.
Yes. Oh, good.
It was published by yeah. But absolutely, lots of inspiration. I need to, need to go find it. But yeah.
But sometimes
rosaries here we go.
Pop up in little places where you really have to look for them. Going back to our favorite on the way to sainthood architect, Gaudi, and they're almost done with the Sagrada Familia. People, if you're not following construction on that, look for it. Go online. They're about ready to finish the cross on the highest tower in the center of the church, which looks a lot like the cross here, this 4-way cross on the Casa Batlló. And what's really unique, this is just someone's house, very elaborate, beautiful house. It can be toured, but look at the way he trimmed off the edge of the roof.
Yeah, rosary beads.
Rosary beads. He loved praying the rosary. And if I have a link here to Gaudi's work and the people that worked with him, and the fact that they were known to be walking around playing the rosary. So it's not an unusual thing for him. He actually, within the nativity facade, if you look really carefully, much like the very first image we looked at today, you'll see a rosary with medallions of each of the mysteries. And it's hard to see in this picture. Everything's all kind of the same color. But take the time to go to the Sagrada Familia website, and you can actually get a great virtual tour and zoom in and see this hidden rosary. You can kind of see the beads draped under the Holy Family there. And actually,
and you can, I like.
He actually had a portal, one of the doorways, into the cloister that wraps tightly around the church, called the Rosary Portal. The whole door is covered in roses, and when you step inside, that's where you see.
I remember seeing that.
Yeah, and then when you step inside, that's when you see one of the most beautiful doorways that leads into the church that Gaudí himself worked on. And like we said before, it's like a love letter to Our Lady and to the Rosary, and it's beautiful.
Yeah. One of the things I love about the Rosary is its association with beauty.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And then this is part Gruel, which also Gaudí's handiwork. But can you see how subtly he incorporated the rosary? Yeah. Yeah. There's 150 of those orbs going all through the park.
Oh, perfect. Mm-hmm.
So what does it remind you of, Alex?
It's just some of this. It's like an extended version of just the little stone rosary from the ladies' blog that you featured. There are all ways of doing this that, if you think about it, and if you're, wanting to bring the rosary into the landscape, there are lots of different ways of doing it. And obviously you work with the space you have, and there was obviously a lot more space here, but you can see the similarities between the two. Yeah.
You talked about space and landscape. Let's go to Montserrat. And in the little narrow walkway that leads you from the main monastery out to the chapel of the cave where the statue of Our Lady was found, they did a rosary walk of the 15 mysteries and various styles. So you have, a little more Gothic and classical looking, and each, unique and different. These images actually I was able to pull from Google Map. You can virtually walk that walk through Google, which is really nice. And down in the center, the smaller one in the center, that was the one that Gaudí himself worked on.
Oh, wow.
So it's neat to see the crossover between there and the work he did in the monastery and the work he did at Sagrada Familia.
He was a busy man. I guess, so it's interesting. So as you're walking this, I just thought about this. You go from one mystery and you could pray and walk, and then you find yourself to the next mystery. Mm-hmm. From our Father to our Father. This is probably obvious to everybody, but I just now got it. Anyway.
I thought about the time you and I walked the rosary when you came to visit, and that was quite interesting as far as the walk went. It's not easy to walk and pray the rosary at the same time, I must say.
Yeah. Well, I've done it on pilgrimage, and it's nice. It kind of, it's something. Yeah. I can't recommend it more. I'm telling you.
Uh-huh.
We hope that, so we hope that this is, as you can probably tell, this is just a very small portion of how the rosary is out there, and how you can engage with it and pray it, whether it's outside and whether it's in a church or a chapel, a cathedral, a museum, like I said. look at all of these things. They're everywhere. And we really hope that even though this is a smaller picture that we wanted to give you of the Rosary, we hope that it inspires you to go and look a little more. And if you find something really interesting, something unexpected, please let us know. Either email us or post it on our Discord page. We always have lovely interactions there. But really, as we said, we hope that you're inspired to pray this beautifully simple and deeply meaningful devotion.
Yeah, so thank you for listening to The Secrets of Sacred Art. To find previous episodes of The Secrets of Sacred Art and to send feedback, please visit sqpn.com/sacredart. You can send us comments by email at sacredart@sqpn.com or by leaving us a comment on YouTube. Join us in conversation by visiting Secrets of Sacred Art channel on the Discord community. And that's at sqpn.com/discord. Please send us lots of pictures of rosary ideas.
Yes. Yeah. If you have a rosary garden, please, we'd love to see it. And we're going to be back next time when we'll be discussing the life and art of Blessed Fra Angelico. Until then, I'm Alex Murray.
And I'm Catherine Laffrey, hoping you find something beautiful.
Bye-bye.